This week we wanted to talk about truck care. We talked about washing the trailer, and we've talked about maintenance on the trailer and that sort of thing. So this thing, we thought we would talk about how we take care of the vehicle that tows the trailer.
Big red.
We bought the truck in 2019. It was still brand new. It was a 2018, so kind of one of the last ones they had on the lot. So we got a good deal on it.
We got a good deal. I found it online. It was in Port Alberni. They transferred it over to Coquitlam for us, and we picked it up there.
When we bought it, we bought a oil change package. Basically covers all our oil changes. I take it in when it needs to be done. We've been continuing to go out to Coquitlam, which is about a half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on traffic, from here. And we did try once to get into the South Surrey White Rock dealership, or to get the maintenance done.
Yeah, they don't like us very much apparently, because we never bought there.
Well, they weren't answering the phone. We were on hold forever. It was just a nightmare. I'm like, just call Coquitlam,
Yeah.
They'll take care of us. So that's kind of how that went. Apparently our package is good at any Chrysler in Canada.
We bought a package that is 13 oil changes and tire rotations, and it has to be done before 100,000 kilometers, which we're only sitting around 35,000 right now. And it's also good for 5 years. So 5 years or 100,000 kilometers, whichever comes first.
The fuel filter light came on. We assumed that was covered underneath our warranty. When I was done,
Yeah, that was what, $400 or $500 bill?
yeah, it was just over, yeah, close to 500. Anyway, so they changed the fuel filter, and we thought, can we do this ourselves next time?
Yes, we can.
So we'll look into
Or
doing
yes,
that.
I can.
Hey, I just drive it. I don't do the maintenance. Actually, I do. I do all the washing.
Okay, yeah.
The only other maintenance issue that we've really had is the park sense light was coming on as we were slowing down to stop at a light, or any time we came down
It would just bing, and it would be on the dashboard for a half a second, and we actually had to have two people in the truck, one person staring at the dash to find out what that sound was, because the light would flash and it was gone. So we were able to find out what the issue was, and apparently there was a sensor that had gone out, and it was covered under warranty, so it was taken care of.
So if you hear a bing and you see the little flash of the park sense, your sensor's probably gone. It took them a long time to figure out exactly what was going on and to put the part in. I was there at 9 in the morning, and I didn't leave there until almost 2.
Yeah, so well, sometimes the smallest thing can be the hardest thing to find.
I think it was just a computer chip they had to replace. Moving on from that, with any service that we get done at the Chrysler dealership in Coquitlam, they offer you a wash coupon for a touchless car wash down the road, which makes me a little bit nervous because it's a really narrow and a 1-ton truck. It fits. I have to pull the mirrors in, but it's a little bit tight. The other thing I find too is it doesn't do a very good job.
Yeah, the touchless car washes are hit and miss. You might get one that spins at the right RPM, and it hits everything, it sprays properly, it rinses properly, but then you get the one that isn't, I guess, timed properly or set up properly, and you have either scratches on your paint, or they just don't catch all of the dirt, and it's just little spots here and there.
Especially around the lettering, the raised lettering around the truck. So like around the Ram and the 3500.
Right on the side by the front fenders.
Yeah, and then on the tailgate as well. We typically do it ourselves. When we went up to do our Christmas pictures, we we went up to Hemlock Valley.
Hemlock Valley. Up in,
And the truck was really
near
dirty.
Agassiz.
It was really, really dirty. So I took it through a car wash, and then I drove kind of around the block, and then said to the guy, I paid top dollar for this. I am not settling for this car wash.
When you pay $18 or $20 or $22 for a car wash, touchless or not, you want it clean. And those just don't cut it. So, if you're using your own pressure wand, that's fine, because you can get all the nooks and crannies.
Well, and that's what he did, is he did the power wash, and then I went through the car wash again, and I came home, and I had to do it myself. So it took 4 times washing the truck to get it right. I will show you shortly what it is we use to wash the truck. It's nothing fancy. Hose, some scrubbers, dish soap, because we always have it. It's cheap.
Yep.
If it's good enough for the ducklings, then it's good enough for the truck.
And it's good enough for the RV, so it's good enough for the truck.
So I'm taking on the task of vacuuming out the truck. I'm in the spot where Wrigley typically sits. I don't know if you can see all this, but the amount of hair that it just sticks. It weaves into the fabric and you can't get it out. But the canister is just hair, very little dirt. So I basically use this little power head. Use a little power head that I've got for my Dyson and get in there as many nicks and crannies, and then I use the corner piece. I carry on with this, and then we'll show you some of the rest of the detailing. Typically I will wash the truck and then vacuum it while it dries so I can see the spots that it's left behind. Today the truck is not terribly dirty. I just want to get all the dust that seems to be on it off, and so I'm going to give it a quick wash. And I noticed there's some bird dew on there too, so I'm going to give it a quick wash. So we're going to show you how that procedure kind of looks. And this is what we use. Set it up in our little mini Maddie bathtub. Basically just use Dawn dish soap. And I have my mitten. And then this is the old brush. It's a little bit dead.
Good for the tires.
And bought a new brush the other day just because the other one was, a couple of years old for sure. So, and then we had talked about waxing the trailer, and we use this on the truck as well. That's what we used to wax the trailer, and it worked quite nice, I think. Wax on, wax off, basically. It's what it came down to. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera over to Brent, and he's gonna record some of the process. I usually start with the mirrors out, and then after I give them a good wash, I'll turn them in. Otherwise I end up clocking myself with the darn things. So I'll just get everything a little bit wet, and I'm gonna climb into the pickup box and give that a wash, or the hood a wash. It's the only way I can reach it. Might need to extend the handle a little bit. And I always use hot water for the soapy for the pail. From our, what is it called, outside shower?
Yeah, from the outside shower, the Nautilus system.
Because that way, if I use it to rinse the truck too, there's not enough pressure coming from there, I find. And I think I need to extend my brush.
Plus the hot water eats through the tree sap a little bit better.
Yeah, the hot water does help with the tree sap a little bit. But I find that you actually have to put the hot water right on it and then gently rub it off. One of our neighbors who lives in the park said just use rubbing alcohol. But I'm not sure how that's going to be on the paint. So I think we'll try it on the RVR first, and then we'll go from there. Another thing I tend to do, because we live under these glorious trees, and right now all the little husks are falling from them, you can probably see them flying around here and there, is I get in behind this side, and the only way I can get the pine needles out is by just blasting the hose full blast to the other side. It's probably coming out. There isn't too much back here right now because I did it about a week ago. So typically, for most of the truck I use the mitt, but for the windshield and the roof and the hood, the center where I can't reach, I use the brush. It's a nice soft brush, so it's not going to scratch anything. So now I'm going to use my nice mitt from like we got from Norwex at the last RV show we were able to go to.
Yeah, that was well, a year and a half ago now.
Well, it's the February one in 2020. We had Thane with us.
All right. So that was our last RV show. It was well,
February 2020.
like 14 months ago.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Just before everybody shut down. I haven't used the mitt on the wheels because they seem to give off some grease. I did it once.
Well, the grease and the brake dust, yes.
Yeah, so I don't want to ruin my mitt for the rest of the truck.
So that's why we've got the older brush for the tires only.
For the rims.
Yeah, tires and rims. And one thing I'll point out that we've got the hose hooked up to the spigot, not to our Nautilus system, so we keep steady pressure. And once you're hooked up to the Nautilus system, it'll get in there, it'll give you some good pressure for probably 10 or 20 seconds, and then it'll die off. If you keep it hooked up to the spigot, you have constant pressure, which is always good when you're washing a vehicle.
So in addition to Coquitlam Chrysler, when I take the truck in to get it serviced, oil change, and all that before we head out on a trip, they check the air pressure and rotate tires.
Well, they do their tire rotation, and that comes with checking tire pressure as well.
We also check our tire pressure and whatnot before we leave on a trip.
Yeah, every time, well, it's part of my pre-trip that I always check tire pressure on all 8 tires. The 4 on the truck, the 4 on the trailer. They're all set for 80 PSI, so I put them all at 78. You're supposed to measure cold, of course. And I figure with these tires, I should be able to get another full season out of them.
Just as we need to take care of our truck, we also need to take care of the RVR, our little commuter vehicle. Brent drives it to work back and forth every day. And I had the front brakes done at a suggestion with the dealership when I took it in for its service. They more or less said it has to be done, or the car doesn't leave. So, okay, do it. But it cost me a lot of money, and they mentioned that the back brakes were going to be needing to be done soon, and they told me how much it was, and that's when Brent's like, nope.
When they're asking $400 for a simple brake change, it's like, that's insane. We got the brake pads for, I think it was around $60, $65. It's a 10-minute swap out. You can find a rotor kit with pads for under $100 for this particular unit. It's a 2014 Mitsubishi RVR. And I'm not changing the rotors because they're not really in that bad a shape. Sure, the the vehicle's coming up on 7 years old, but I'm just doing the pads.
Okay, and there are the back ones. So my
Yeah,
arm's going to
rear
fall
pads,
off
sorry.
because we got the tripod on this thing, so I'm going to set you up to do some recording. In the meantime, I'm going to take the dogs for a walk, and you have fun with the car.
Oh yeah.
I'm passing the torch.
Toodaloo. Enjoy the sun. Because I'm going to have wider brake pads. Just to show you, the old pad, new pad,
Huge difference.
massive difference.
the rear brakes on the car done. And he's just going to tell us a little bit about doing that.
Basically, this is the tools that you'll need. I've got a new floor jack, so I got to use it out finally. And then jack stands, of course. I kept the floor jack under the car the whole time, but I had it resting on the jack stands, which is absolute must. And you chuck the tires as well, just so it doesn't roll. I wasn't sitting under the car, but my leg was under there once in a while, and if it falls, there goes the leg. Not fun. I wouldn't want to do that. But the basic tools for changing the brakes, or this is just the brake pads, sorry. 14mm wrench, flathead screwdriver, a little bit of brake lubricant. I just used a pair of channel lock pliers for when I'm locking in the disc caliper tool set. This set here is basically for the brake caliper. A lot of the older brake calipers that I'm used to working on, I just use a C-clamp and it compresses the caliper so the pads will fit in there easily. But with a lot of newer vehicles, the caliper actually has to go in and twist as it's going back in. So that's why I had to get this set. It was only $30, so I can use it on pretty much any vehicle that requires it. And it was a cheap fix. Nice to get that instead of dropping $300 or $400 at a dealership for them to put in a pair of brake pads.
That's how we take care of our truck. We'll see you next week.
If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Ring that bell for notifications.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye for now.
Well, did we lose the dog?
I don't think we lost the dog.
No, we didn't.
Oh no, she's right
Here.
there.
No. Okay, we're recording still.
Please keep the tire pressure.
Carry on. Okay.
You're gonna have to set this up. Cameras are not my thing.